Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Apocrypha. Thank you for joining us on this most tiresome of Mondays to play some Apocalypse World. We are all very stoked to be here today and continue where our dramatic game left off last week. Got a lot of stuff to do. If you haven't watched the last episode, you might want to turn this off now and go watch that. But otherwise, no, it'll be fine. We'll do a recap. It won't have nearly the same impact to you, though, which saddens me. But thank you for joining us. A couple announcements before we get started. We have a giveaway that is still ongoing. Still have 3 or 4 weeks left in that. We're giving away a copy of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. If you haven't pre-ordered the book, or you want an extra copy, or you need a copy, go over to our Twitter and follow the link there to Gleam is where we're doing the giveaway through. You can enter a variety of different ways. The primary way is following us here on Twitch if you aren't already, or even if you are, you just have to click a link and it automatically gives your entry. Easy peasy. And there are a bunch of other ways you can enter too, as well as doing a daily entry and telling us a game that you'd like to see us play. We've got a lot of great entries, a lot of great games that I think we're going to try to work into our streams here in the future. So thank you. We had Survivors Complex last Saturday and Wild Space the week before, the Monday before that, or Monday before this. Wild Space is up on YouTube right now. Survivors Complex will go up this Wednesday, as well as this episode of Apocrypha. And then on Thursday, we will have our next session of Tidefall, which we are, as always, looking forward to. Let's see. I think that's about it as far as announcements goes. It's just the business as usual. And we'll keep you apprised of anything else that might be going on. For now, though, we're going to go ahead and get into the story. We're going to take care of our housekeeping beforehand, and then we'll jump right in. The other thing. I was just reminded. You might notice that someone isn't here. If you've watched any of these streams beforehand. Ryan, of course, dramatically was written off out of the show last week. He
went out with a bang.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. He is unfortunately leaving this game specifically and to dedicate to some other GameKnights projects that are in the works. So he will at least not be playing with us for the foreseeable future, but may come back at some point, may guest occasionally, who knows. But for now, miss you, Ryan, but your death made a hell of a plot device, so I'm very happy about it, but sad, but also happy. That's it. That's actually it. Right. I don't have any more messages from producers waiting for me. No. Okay. So housekeeping. Everybody needs to do we need to mark some highlighted stats. So we will start. I'm going to start in the middle this time because it's either always starting with Leopold or Alex. So I'm gonna start with Birdie. It's right in the middle of my screen.
Tesla.
All right. So Tesla, what do you want to highlight of Birdie's?
I'm gonna do her cool.
Fair. Okay. I'm gonna. Did you have your weird highlighted last week? I feel like you did.
I think so, but I didn't ever get to roll it.
Okay. I'll highlight it again because maybe it'll come up this time. There might be some stuff for you to do.
Favorite.
All right. We'll go with Tesla next. Tesla, who do you have the high sex with?
I have a tie still between Leopold and Birdie.
Okay. So the two of you can pick those.
Hot.
And hard.
Fair enough.
That's my best stat and my worst stat. You guys can guess which is which, I guess. I know it's so hard.
We'll go next with Garrett.
That would be Tesla.
Weird.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, weird.
I'm gonna go with Have you ever had your hot highlighted?
Nope, because it's my worst stat.
Go. I'm gonna highlight your hot. I just realized I don't think you've ever had that highlighted, so let's do that. Let's see. Go with Phoenix.
Leopold.
All right. Let's go with Sharp.
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna highlight your cool.
Hey.
Hey. All right, and then last is Leopold.
I have a 3-way tie with Tesla, Tacoma, Birdie, and Phoenix.
I'll fight you. No, I won't. I don't know how to resolve this.
I don't know how to resolve these yet. Have any of you not highlighted anybody's yet? Okay. So Phoenix, have either of you done it more than once?
I have.
I did it one time.
You did it one time. Okay, so
I'll step back.
so we'll do Birdie and
Excellent. Leopold, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm gonna roll hard because you're gonna be avenging Solomon today.
Well, maybe today, maybe in the future. We shall
No,
see.
it's gonna be today. I said.
I was considering doing hard. I'm gonna be really nice and say weird because I like the weird shit.
Cool. All right.
We don't judge here, Kyle.
The only other thing that I need to find out, who here is still infected?
I'm soups
I
infected.
think so.
I don't know.
I'm 2 times.
You haven't been here since I think that started, Phoenix.
No.
Phoenix, I need you to roll for me. Phoenix, go ahead and roll plus hard.
Okay.
We're just gonna say this counts for the first time you were exposed, whether or not you.
That is a 9.
Okay. So you are infected. So this is what's gonna happen then. So I need the 3 of you to go ahead and roll hard for me again.
That is a 7.
It's a
I got it.
4.
I got a 10. I hope my dice just keep incrementing upward.
Okay, so 4, 10. Okay. So Birdie, you take 1 harm ongoing.
So another harm ongoing.
Yeah,
I had
because
one
that's you take 2 harm ongoing.
Ugh.
Yeah. So that brings you at 6 o'clock harm until otherwise stated. So Birdie's getting worse. The other 2 of you got a 10 and a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're also no longer infected for the 10. So you had it and then you lost it.
He was like, "No."
I am not
Just
getting
driving
sick.
away
I
from
can't
the
do-
plague.
Yeah.
He drove too fast. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Leo, you're just even keel. All right. And the only other thing is, there isn't a daddy's favorite anymore. So as of right now, there's nobody in charge, and none of you are in a position to give out barter or anything. So everybody is going to have to spend a barter. And that, if everybody has one to spend, I don't have to hurt anyone. Okay, good. So that will put it, we'll go and do a recap then.
One last question of things from last time. I had 3 o'clock harm from one going weird failed. Has enough time passed that is gone, or do I still have it?
That's just a one tick. No, not enough time has passed at this point, so you still do have that. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into the game. So, all right. Last time on Apocrypha, your crew had, or a few of you, Garrett in your gang, Tesla, Birdie, the three of you made your way across the wilds of Dakota. Sorry, chirping cats here. Across the wilds of Dakota to investigate a potential source of a cure, a way that you could potentially rid the train yard of your of the sickness. As you approached or made your way through the wilds of Dakota, you were attacked by a group of raiders that attempted to chase you further off the edges of the map and attempt to take your ship. You were able to handily defeat them, however, and thanks to some good tactics and Tesla blowing shit up. As you made your way southward up at the train yard, Solomon and Leo were continuing their investigation of the seeming mole that you might have within your ranks that might have been leaking information to Black Dog's gang. Leo attempted to do some investigating, didn't, by and large, didn't work out too well. Got a little bit of information up, but not much. Not enough to point out who that person might be. As the rest of you made your way south, tensions continued to grow in the train yard until you heard the sound of bikes and motors and vehicles approaching in the jungle and found yourselves very quickly surrounded by Black Dog's gang. They offered Solomon a choice. Let the people of the train yard leave, let them be taken to the cathedral where they could be cleansed of their sins and wrongdoings and find forgiveness at the prophet's feet. In exchange, those that remained would see the righteous judgment of the prophet. As you thought on this, the rest of you found the source of this vision that Birdie had received, finding this laboratory in the wastes near the Growling Gulch. Upon stepping inside, you found medical equipment, rather clean, if not a little bit dusty. Half sunken building, kind of tilted to the side. Looked like it had been used for some time, but was now abandoned. And in there, along with the medical supplies, you found a body in a lab coat with a name tag that read Dr. Leopold. You also found a number of pictures, small like child's drawings. And these drawings seem to show strange cities as the modern audience could see them. Visions or drawings of something that few in this world had ever seen. Upon gathering these supplies, Garrett's gang and the rest of you made your way north, back to the train yard. At which point Solomon made the choice, given that you were going to be overrun by the potential incursion of the Black Dogs gang, you opened your gates and let the people leave for their own safety. Solomon and his enforcers remaining behind. Leo, you went with them, planning to infiltrate the ranks and get some information on Black Dog. And as you left and the sun began to set, Solomon, standing out over the train yard looking at its vacantness, heard strange whispers and voices coming up from the gap. And as he walked there, seeing a vision for himself for the last time of his wife, of his daughter, the explosives that the Black Dog Gang had been planting along the base of the cliff went off and sent Solomon and his enforcers, along with everything in the train yard, tumbling down to the waters below. And that's where we pick up our session on the aftermath of that explosion. Leopold, the dust settles, the debris fades, and everything, your vision slowly comes to you, your ears ringing as you look out over this empty expanse, standing at the edge of this cliff, and everything is gone.
So I think Leopold would just kind of stand there, stare at the cliff, because he knows he needs to stay under cover, but he also essentially just lost his father. So I think he's...
If it helps at all, you're with a group of people at this point that have seen the same thing as you.
Yep.
And you hear cries of panic. And you watch as among the 40 or 50 people that are with you right now that had come from the train yard, a handful of them begin to cry out, to sob and weep at this sight. Others begin to look around in panic and move away from the overwhelming force of Black Dog's game that is surrounding you, worried that you are also about to be pushed into the waters themselves. And there's this kind of overwhelming panicking cacophony that is beginning to billow around you.
So this is more for flavor than anything else, but he's gonna palm his newest gear that he, had been working on, and thought it would be useful to have, the pain wave projector, which is basically a psychic grenade, but just getting ready to use it in case things do turn bad. But just kind of looks around at everyone, and he does have some experience with trying to be a leader, being for a while Solomon's pseudo second in command. So it's just looking for the people in the crowd, because I know the enforcers stayed in, but the people who look the most capable, and just going to them, be ready. We need to be cautious and vigilant, but if they wanted us dead, they wouldn't have let us leave the compound.
Okay. So you actually are approaching, I'd say, the sort of leaders in the group. Probably Kit is one of them. The munitions officer for Solomon. No, wasn't one of his enforcers, so did leave with the rest. Is sort of trying to help calm people down as you're doing that, is listening to you and kind of say, oh, listen to what he's saying, and trying to help. But go ahead and make a I'm gonna count this as sort of a manipulate check. So we're gonna have you roll hot for this.
Great. My -2 stat. Oh, that is a 0.
Whew.
Which for the people at home means I rolled 2 1s.
Yeah. So the crowd begins to panic. They see you saying this, and I think it's delivered in such a hollow and vacant way. I don't think they believe what you're saying for a second. Your own emotions probably getting the better of you in that moment, and it gets trying to calm down and kind of looking at you like not helping, but and everyone is beginning to sort of get riled up. You watch as Black Dog's gang is pressing in, and not in an aggressive way, but trying to calm people. Elijah is working his way through the crowd, looking over people and saying, "It's gonna be all right. You're fine here. It's all right. It's needed to be done." And is trying to calm people down, not really helping. But they're trying to herd people away from the edge. And as people are being herded away, and you see in the cacophony everybody moving, you do watch as there is a little bit of movement near the outskirts of the crowd, and very quickly approach, kind of looking over to you and making eye contact with you for a moment. You see Deet look at you, and she looks back at the empty space separating her from the tree line, and she looks over to Heck. They look back to you, and you see them out. Come with us.
So they're
slowly. You sort of imagine there's the tree line here. There's the cliff. The crowd is sort of in the middle, and Black Dog's going to start trying to push people away, which is leaving a gap between. There's no one between you and the tree line at this point, and Deet and Heck are beginning to back up towards the tree line, realizing nobody's paying attention to them. What do you do?
Oh, I think this is a tough choice.
I'm gonna say everything sort of slows down in this moment. This slow motion is there's the crying and people panicking. You're just locking eyes with them.
I think what Leopold's going to do is mouth back at them for Solomon, and then blend back into the crowd that's being herded.
Okay.
Sticking with the undercover
Okay.
mission.
You blend back into the crowd as Kit is still trying to calm people down. Says, "All right." He looks at you and says, "Just don't say anything. Just try to help me get at least people." And you see Kit is starting to work with some of the Black Dogs gang, sort of reluctantly, to calm everyone as they begin to. And then as you look back over your shoulder, Deet and Heck are gone, and there's just a little bit of rustling to the trees behind you. Elijah, once everybody calms down, looks over the crowd and says, all right, listen, I understand this isn't what you expected. Understandable. This was not us, though. We did not do this. This was the will of... Well, you don't really have to, because his next words are, this was the will of the prophet. This was judgment coming down on these people. Now you were spared because you're good folk, and we're going to help you. Now you're sick, you're hurt, you're tired. We have a place for you, and we're going to take you there. You just need to come with us. All right? And you see the people in the crowd beginning to kind of calm as his Matthew McConaughey-esque expression sort of gets them, kind of speaks to them a bit. That's not really where I wanted to go with this character, but that's where it's going real fast. So
just means he's more hateable.
Debatable. The crowd begins to calm, and Elijah says, now, I know you don't trust us. I understand that. I want you to trust us. I want you to have a way to communicate with us as a group. Is there someone that's willing to step forward as an intermediary, someone that you trust, a leader among you that might be able to help in this situation? Everybody kind of looks around. There are a few glances towards Kit. There are a few glances towards you. Kit kind of turns back to you and says, "You were Solomon's boy. I mean, I won't say anything to anyone here, but..."
I think for what I have planned, it is best if there is less attention on me.
Understood. All right, then. Kit kind of takes a breath and looks back and says, "That'd be me." Elijah nods and says, "And what's your name, sir?" Says, my name's Kit. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Elijah, if I haven't introduced myself already. Now, Kit, why don't you tell these kind people, we're gonna just come along. Got some cars you can get into. We'll make our way back to transport. We'll get you back to our place. All right? Kit gives a nod. People begin to get loaded up in the vans and the trucks and all the vehicles that were brought over, or that they transport themselves in, and everybody begins to load up. Kit stays pretty close to you and just says, "Stick with me, all right?" And there are a few people giving weird looks like, "Why are you here? What's going on?" To you, Leo, but Kit seems to be giving them looks back and quickly communicating to people not to tell anyone who you are or were to the train yard. You both get in a was once like probably an Escalade or something, but it's been the roof has been kind of sawed off, so it's a open top. It's all rusted down the sides, got spikes coming off of it, and doors shuts behind you as you load in with about 4 others, including Kit. And the whole gang begins the engines roar to life, and they go tearing off from the cliffside. Which we're going to cut over to the rest of you. A little bit before this, you are all up probably about 5 miles off from the train yard, up on a ridge, just high enough over the tree line where you can see the faint bit of dirt and debris coming up from the cliffside as that explosion, that crack washed over you, the shockwave passes.
Are we just like on our bikes perched up? We were just looking over.
Yeah.
Birdie falls off the bike.
Okay. I think, Tesla, you're the one that was driving it, and you kind of feel Birdie's grip on you loosen and hear a thud behind you.
Right, I immediately get off the bike.
All right. You jump off the bike and...
I'm just laying on the ground, just staring at nothing. Probably eyes dilated. Just catatonic, essentially.
We sit on the ground and put her head in my lap.
Like I'm completely non-responsive, but tears just start streaming.
Yeah, I sit there for a minute to see if she says anything. Just like with her head in my lap.
I don't know what anyone else does, but I think very slowly Birdie will just kind of like reach up and just grab whatever part of Tesla's closest, like a pant leg, like, and just grip it as if for dear life.
Okay, I'll give her my hand instead. Just sit there.
Tears claw off.
Yeah, no, don't tear this.
Okay. So you sit there from the rest of the gang kind of looking in stunned silence back towards the train yard. And there's just this quiet that overtakes everything in this moment. And you hear you begin to hear a noise. An engine. Loud, very, very loud. It comes kind of tearing in from behind you. And you see down at the base of the ridge, not noticing you in this moment and not coming towards you, but going straight towards the cliff, you see this massive truck, this monstrous looking contraption covered in like plated with metal that is just tearing off straight towards the cliff.
Like towards the train yard, or what's left of it? Okay,
towards the train yard.
I didn't know if there was like another cliff and he was going over it.
No, like straight towards the train yard. The single
also
vehicle.
leaving the game.
One that you don't recognize, but it is big and it is heading straight towards the train yard right now.
May I roll for panic attack again?
I mean, you can have a panic attack if you want.
I just want to know if like it's loud enough to like kind of shake me out of it or not.
I'd say it was startling enough after what just happened, and it sort of just started as low for a moment, and then it comes busting out. You just that comes kind of breaking out, probably knocking a few trees over, and then cutting across the landscape beneath you, like the Batmobile, essentially, and then just continues tearing off into the jungle.
I jerk to a like sort of half sitting up, probably elbow Tesla a little bit, like just stare at her. And then just face kind of crumples, like, oh, that startled me, but then just like remembering, like a little kid. He told me to come back.
I know.
He told me to fix it.
I know.
I can't do it again, Tesla.
Birdie, we don't have a choice.
And I'll just kind of like fall to like lean against her chest and like just grip the sides of her shirt or her shoulders or arms, whatever, and just cry and cry. Just like loud sobs, uncontrollable.
I let her cry for like a minute, and then if she takes a breath or anything, or if there's any like break, I'm like, Birdie, we can't stay here.
Where are we gonna go?
How close are they to me?
Not too far away. Yeah, I mean, there's only like 20 or so of you guys, so it's,
Okay. We don't know how many survive Little Sparrow. Who knows? Knowing Solomon, he probably got a lot of the people out. And if he didn't, that's something we need to worry about another day. Saul would have done everything he could to get his people out. We're gonna find them. And then I'm gonna find Black Dog. And I'm gonna tear him limb from bloody limb. He's seething at this point, by the way, like stone face, knuckle white on the handlebars, furious.
I think Pep is pretty close to this point. Kind of doesn't really look towards you, but over like out of the side of her mouth says, "We should go see what's left."
Yeah, we should.
Do you think anyone got out, Tesla?
I'm sure a lot of people got out.
Okay. Let's go help them.
All right. You guys mount back up on your bikes. Birdie grips on tight to Tesla, and your group goes kind of off this cliff, following in the path of this massive truck that just cut through this jungle, now leaving a pretty sizable swath through it, straight to the train yard. As you pursue and finally catch up, you come up to where the train yard is or was. And at this perspective, as you're coming to a stop, emerging from the tree line once again, you quickly all cut the brakes and veer off as you realize, now being able to see what the trees were blocking, that the train yard is entirely gone. Unlike anything any of you have seen before, is just gone. And sitting there at the edge of this cliff is that same large black plated vehicle with dark tinted windows across it, a few, not very many, but enough that you can't even see into it. Got eyelash. And it's stopped there for a second. The engine's still roaring and rumbling.
Because we don't know who this is, I'm pretty sure the entire gang has weapons out, ready for this person to step out and do something.
Yeah. I think everybody gets defensive, pulling out pistols, shotguns, anything they have at this point, and aiming it towards the vehicle. I think dramatically the engine cuts in that moment. Everything goes quiet. The door pops open, and one boot steps out, and then another. He takes off his sunglasses, and you see Phoenix.
We shoot him multiple times.
And they open fire, and we're done. The end.
Where have you been, you piece of shit?
Finding new toys.
You're gonna need a new garage.
I'll find one eventually, but I was able to get everything out on time.
There's nothing left of the train yard, right? Like, it just fell into the ocean.
Just gone. There are a few bits and pieces of, like, you can see some of the buried metal and stuff that was underneath it kind of protruding out from the cliffside a bit. Some of the pipes and other like infrastructure that would have sat underneath it, but yeah, the whole thing's gone.
Are there any people around?
Well, it's funny you ask that, because at that point you hear very faintly a voice. Yeah. Hello?
I run. I jump from the bike.
Is anyone up there?
I also run.
Hello?
You guys go over to the edge of the cliff where you hear it coming from?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You see dangling probably 30 feet down, you see Cask with his hand, one of his arms sort of wrapped around a pipe that is like bending at his weight, and he's just holding himself up there and just like struggling at this point, sweat pouring down him. He looks up, he says, can someone help me?
Would it be fair to say there's a length of rope in my big old truck?
I think someone has a rope, yeah.
Tesla, Garrett, someone.
Yeah, I'll get the rope from a truck, sort of.
You toss it down, and you guys are able to pull him up, and as you do, he collapses on the edge of the cliff, pull himself away, and just breathing heavily.
I give him some water or other medical attention.
Sure. You look at him. He looks mostly fine. Probably exhausted from holding himself up there so long, but otherwise seems okay. And he just kind of lies there, just shell shocked, staring out over the cliff.
What happened? What happened?
They're gone. They're gone.
What happened?
Everyone?
No, not everyone. Some got out. Black Dogs game. They showed up. A lot of them. Gave us a choice. They took most everyone. Went with them. Saul stayed. We stayed with him. The ground just fell. I just smoke and dirt, and I hit something and I grabbed onto it. I don't know how I'm alive. I shouldn't be alive. I'm the one that told him to listen to them. Oh shit. And he just sort of collapses, like his head in his hands, and just starts muttering to himself.
I put a hand on his shoulder, but I'm crying again, just silently.
Where's Leo?
Leo got out with the rest of them. I don't know what happened. I heard him talking. I had to stay quiet before they left, but I think Leo went with the rest of the group. I don't know. I don't know what happened after everything fell.
No, it's fine. It's fine, brother. Oh, Solomon, what did you do?
We didn't have a choice.
Oh, no. He protected as many people as he could, the only way he knew how.
You're with us now.
Yeah. I suppose I am. And at that same time, I think you hear noise coming from behind you again. Everybody sort of flinches, guns up towards the tree line. As quickly emerging from it, you see panting and sweating Deet and Hecuba coming running out of the tree line. They look and they see you, Birdie, and they come running up to you.
I get up, I arms out, I just squeeze the life out of them.
They hug you back, and they're both just panting and crying and just
Also crying.
Yeah, everybody's just sort of in a real bad state.
So much snot, so many tears.
But Deet, they look at you and they say, I didn't think we were going to make it.
I'm so proud of you.
She looks down at Hecuba, who's in a worse state at this point, and kind of pats her on the shoulder and says,
I'm just not letting go of them.
Yeah. What are we going to do?
We're gonna go after them. We're going to help them.
There's too many.
That's okay. It's gonna be okay.
They just kind of shake their head in disbelief, and Hecuba sort of nods at what you're saying, a little more receptive to it. Cask stands up, starts just like pacing around at the edge of the cliff.
Garrett's gonna walk over to him.
He turns over to you. What?
I know we haven't always been friendly. Because me and Saul. But Saul was a good man. And he did what was needed to help your people, but also mine. It was family. All of you are family. I'm sorry for what happened, but I'm gonna need you with us. You don't have to like me, but I know you want revenge as much as I do. Probably more so. You can walk if you want, but I know for a fact, me and my boys, we're going hunting, and I'd love to have you with me.
Cask sort of wipes his brow and kind of smears the sweat in the dirt across his head. He starts to talk and then stops and looks over at Tess, and then at Deet and Hecuba and Birdie, and kind of surveying around, and says, I hung there for a while. All I could think about was killing them. I thought I'd want revenge, but he looks back towards Deet and Hecuba and says, "Now I just want to protect what's left." I appreciate the offer, but I think I need to do what I've been doing this whole time and keep protecting people.
That's even better. At least I know I can leave someone behind that can be trusted to take care of the people that aren't going with me. If you need anything, you let me know. I'll get it for you.
We need to get them back first.
You said Leo was with them, right?
He was.
All right. Well, that's a start.
And Deet says, Leo, I did see Leo. He was with them. They loaded up in the cars and they left. We tried to bring him with us, but he said he wanted to stay for Saul.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
And emerging from the tree at this time, there actually are a few other people that kind of come out with about 6 that were able to make it out with Deet and Hecuba unseen, nameless NPCs. But they sort of come out and join your little kind of survivor group at this point.
I hug all of them.
And Cask says, "First things first, we got to find a place to go. I don't trust Ford. I don't trust Longmire at this point. I don't know where's safe."
I got an idea.
I got my trucks holed up not too far away. We can get enough vehicles to transport everyone around.
Oh, that sounds good. What's your idea, Tess?
We go back to the compound. Where we found all the medical supplies. It's not big, but it's got a door.
And it's enough out of the way that no one knows where it is. Plus, it's already set up for you, Sparrow.
It just needs some power. If we could get the generator working again, it could work.
I'm pretty sure Phoenix can probably do something with that.
Siphon what I've got out of the truck when we get there. That should be able to kick it, right?
Well,
From what we saw, it was damaged, right?
it was smashed.
It was damaged, but could be repaired with what Phoenix, some of his skill set, maybe salvaging a few parts from some bikes or some other vehicles.
We do have one kind of busted bike.
We do.
It'll take us far out of the way like that though. Make it harder to go get our people back.
We gotta regroup. They'll be alright for a couple of days.
I don't think they want to hurt them. If they did, they'd have just dropped them off the side of the cliff with everyone else. He wants them for another reason.
Yeah. His ego. Alright. Phoenix, let's get everybody in the cars. Everybody stay close.
I just go and squeeze onto Deep Neck a little bit more. I got us some new tools.
Hecua gives a smile and nods. Deet's a little kind of worried. Gives you a sort of worried look, like something's off. And just keeps a very close eye on you, but nods as well. And says, can't wait to see him. Let's get back to wherever this compound is then. All right. So you guys load up. We'll say for the sake of moving things along, you get the trucks. The people that need to load up in the new the tank or whatever you're gonna call it. And which is this massive vehicle. I guess we didn't really describe it, but it is this armor-plated black like SWAT car essentially. And I think if we ended up right, has a big like machine gun mounted.
There's a big machine gun on top.
Yeah. Yeah. So this thing is a monster. But yeah, so people load up in that. I mean, you had a bike, Tesla, but if you wanted to get in the car, then Cass could take up your bike. But
I'm actually gonna stay on my bike.
you're gonna stay on your bike. Okay.
As cool as that sounds.
Cass will get in the vehicle with you and man the turret, along with some of the other civvies that you've had along with you.
Am I in the vehicle or can I not?
You can stay with Tesla if you want, or you can get in the vehicle. Okay, yeah.
I don't like cars.
Yeah, the two of you stay on your bike.
I'm just gonna tell everybody. Well, if Birdie don't mind. On the way, I'm gonna take a little detour. I got half a mind to go get us some reinforcements, but I'll be back. Birdie, if you want to ride along.
Okay.
You didn't want to go with you, Tess?
No.
All right.
I'll be your spotter.
Best spotter in all the land.
We're just gonna go pick up some friends.
All right.
Garrett, you okay with leading the convoy to the hospital compound?
Yeah. I'll lead everyone there.
All right.
And like with everyone there around, especially like the new people and Phoenix, because he wasn't here last time, we did run into some trouble last time, so I don't think they'll start again, but I wanted everyone to know.
Cask up on the roof, kind of. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah, that works.
I love him.
All right, and with that, you all go tearing off into the forest once again. And shortly after, Tesla, you break off with Birdie. So we're gonna, while you guys are making your way back, we're gonna get. Oh no, he's not here. Never mind. I just realized that he wasn't around. I'll wait till he gets here. So do a little bit of filler. You guys make your way back to the lab where you found, which I marked on your map for your reference. Those of you that haven't been there before, you end up kind of tearing through the jungle for a while, actually. As the sun sets, you actually spend most of the night traveling south through the jungles and the dense forests, cutting across the little bits of freeway and streets that remain. little bits of clearings, and you go past the area where you had the battle before. Eventually, you emerge into that asphalt parking lot that remains, shrouded and covered by the natural sort of growth that has taken around it, forming sort of a wall. And you see that half-sunk building with the metal doors leading into it. And everybody sort of unloads and gets and begins to filter into the lab, or whatever you guys want to call it, the compound. It's your place. You guys can name it whatever you want. So actually, now that you're back, Alex, we'll go ahead and as everybody's getting back and finding a safe place to camp out or find a new home, you have been traveling throughout the night in this back of this Humvee, or this vehicle that you have been sitting next to Kit inside of. Elijah is in the front, has been talking this entire time and sort of tried to ingratiate himself with people, but there's just this numb detachment from most of the survivors at this point of the train yard, and nobody's really responding. And probably a few hours in, he kind of gives up on it and just sits there quietly and contemplated as you continue south. And you emerge from the tree line into the plains once again, and you see to the south Ford's farm. And at first you think you're going to head towards the farm, and then you kind of cut off, continuing east or west. As the sun begins to rise behind you in the early morning, you begin to approach the cliffs and the western side or expanse of Dakota, and there's nothing around here. You've passed Ford's Farm a few hours ago, and as far as you know, there's nothing in this area. Nobody that resides in this region. But you see some tents, and you see some little bit of encampment farther south. It's small. And as you approach, some people begin to come out. Some armed individuals, looks like they were stationed here, protecting something, though for the life of you can't see what. And the whole envoy comes to a stop. And Elijah gets out of the car, looks around, says, "Y'all can stay here for a bit if you want. Take it easy, stay seated. It might be a little bit of a wait. If you want to get up and walk around, though, you're free to go wherever you like." And he goes over to the people that are at these tents set up, and they're military style, tall structures, and he ducks inside of one of them. Kit leans over to you, says, "Oh, all right, boy, what's the play here? As far as I can see it, I don't know where we're going, where they're taking us. They could be lining us up to execute us here."
If it gets to that, I will make something happen, but my plan is to get as close to Black Dog himself as I can and make sure he regrets every decision he's ever made.
He nods. "All right, I'm with you." And actually sort of pats his side a bit. You hear a bit of a clank of metal. Get the idea. He probably has a pistol tucked into his belt. He says, "Till the end, for Saul."
For Solomon.
About 30 minutes passes. And then the tent opens, and Elijah comes out with a big smile on his face and says, "All right, well, I'm excited. Looks like everything's turning out, going to plan here. Now, this is going to be a little bit strange, something many of you probably haven't seen before. Believe me, I had it until quite recently. A bit of a miracle provided by, well, the prophet. And you're hearing a faint noise catching up on the wind, like a buzzing.
Does it sound at all like the other plane approaching?
Does a little bit. You just and you look out. It's a dense, sort of foggy morning, as most mornings are here, and the clouds that are at eye level, pretty much between these floating land masses. And you look out and you see some sort of color emerging, and as this noise gets louder. But this time you don't see that same contraption you saw before with the wings and the engine at the front. You don't see a plane. You see a large, round, blue, reddish color, kind of rust-colored and object emerging from the clouds. A massive balloon gently gliding out from the clouds themselves. The audience would see a dirigible or a zeppelin or something of that nature, but you see this enormous floating object giving off this faint buzz that is very ever so slowly sort of drifting through the air in your direction. And over the next 20 minutes or so, it gradually comes in as it gets larger and larger and larger, and the whole scale of it begins to become apparent to you, and it just sets itself down just maybe 40 or so feet above you until a ladder drops. And it's just still buzzing, and you can see these little propellers on the sides, and you can see the bit of patchwork to the material. The whole balloon itself is not one piece of fabric, but looks like it has been patched together in multiple different pieces. And the undercarriage itself is broken and sort of patchwork metal too. And there is an open door at the top, and the rope that is hanging down from it, or the ladder hanging down from it. And Elijah walks up to it, and they take the ladder, and they actually stake the bottoms of it into the ground. And he looks up, actually takes a radio from his side and speaks into it a bit, waits for a click back, and you hear some murmured voices, gives a nod, tucks it into his belt, and says, "All right. Like I said, I assume none of you have flown before. It's a bit of a strange experience. Don't worry, though. It's perfectly safe. I'm going to send a few of us up, so make sure everything's safe. You can see it's perfectly safe to climb. We're not trying to trick you or anything. And then y'all can follow. All right?" Some people give nods. Some people still look worried. And a few of Black Dog's gang, about half of them, head up the ladder. And then Elijah approaches Kit and says, "I assume if you're leader of this group, you might want to show them it's okay." Kit gives a nod, looks back to you, and he looks nervous, understandably. Says,
Give him a subtle nod.
Yeah. He says, "Sure, that's, I can do that." He goes over and kind of pulls at the ladder a bit, begins to climb his way up. Eventually, people start beginning to follow behind him. Do you wait? Do you kind of mix your way in and head up with the others?
Yeah, mix my way in. I guess a question. Wouldn't really have been able to do this during the convoy, but as we've been waiting, have I seen the person who identified themselves as Raven earlier?
Yes, you do. Actually, kind of with the group is staying pretty near Elijah, you see Raven. As you remember him, seeing him, this kind of thin, scrawny-looking, early 20s boy with black hair. He has kind of pulled back right now under this black robe that cloak he is wearing. And he's talking with some of the other people right now.
Okay. Does it look like he's going to be getting on the dirigible?
He's hanging back right now. He wasn't one of the first group to go up, and now your crew is going up. So you're not sure if he's going to be going either or as well.
I think Leopold's going to wait towards the end, but if the last of the train yard people are getting on, and Leopold will go up. But the idea is to Leopold isn't sure that this is really Raven, or wants to figure out something and wants to try to brain scan him, but also needs to keep his cover. And at this point, cover is more important.
Yeah. Okay. I think you wait long enough and you see people begin to go up, and you're one of the last 10 or so that are remaining as the rest are going up, and you see Raven beginning to grab some bags together and stuff, and it looks like he is preparing to leave as well. However, since you're entering back, Elijah comes up to the group of you that remains and comes up to you, says, "Everything's all right? You're not worried about going up, are you?"
I am not so good with heights.
Believe me, I'm not too good about it either. So I've been there. Trick is just focus one rung at a time. You'll be up before you know it. Just don't look down.
That is sound advice. Thank you.
Says, not a bother. I'll head up right after you. How about that?
Just give him a kind of forced smile at that.
All right. He gives a smile back, more genuine looking than yours at least. And at this point, you and the others begin to climb up. Elijah comes right up after you, Raven and a few others following suit. As you all emerge up into the dirigible, it's pretty vacant here. It looks like pretty much everything has been cleared out of this interior. There are some chairs and some seats along the way for people to sit and get comfortable. But for the most part, it looks like this is straight up sort of like transport at this point. No, just solely function. And you do see, I'll point this out too, there is sort of this makeshift cargo bay door towards the center rear of it. And you can see straps along the interior, all on the way. Something that might be used to carry, you might have seen this before, when Phoenix puts a vehicle on the back of his semi. It looks like this might have been used to transport vehicles across the gap as well. After Elijah gets in, he goes to the pilots, to the chamber at the front where you can see the pilots, and everything's sort of loud and that buzzing noise throughout. Says some words to them, comes back in and says, "All right, everyone, seems like we're good to go. Just make yourselves comfortable. It's going to be a few hours before we make it over to the hangar, and then we'll take you to the cathedral from there." Everybody goes and begins to relax. Black Dog's game sort of intermingling, trying to sort of ingratiate themselves to the members of the train yard that will speak. Some of them are receptive to it. Some of them are keeping to themselves. And the dirigible slowly begins to move, and you look kind of out the window and you can see some of Black Dog's games remaining stationed at this little outpost here, with the vehicles that are stationed there. Probably about I'd say 40 out of the original 100 or so that were there before. And then, but the rest are going with you. So yeah, you've got a couple hours on this plane. Let's fly right now, and there's no movie.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, something that I don't know if Leopold's ever really tried to do this before, but is going to try to send a telepathic message to someone. And he's going to try to think of Garrett, because he knows Garrett is among the more receptive to the kind of person that Leopold is in the crew.
All right. So this isn't like a move or something you have to send a telepathic
not
message?
specifically.
Okay. Still, it'll be an interesting experiment. Yeah, I'll say let's just roll weird and see how it goes, and we'll interpret from there.
Yeah. And before he does this, he's gonna, find a spot to lean up, try and look like he's sleeping, so that it looks as normal as possible, as least weird as possible.
Before you roll, I do want to know exactly what is the message that you are sending.
Yep.
Is it verbal? Is it image? Or what is it?
I think it would try and be some combination of that. It would be like southwest past Ford's farm encampment, dirigible, and some images of like the Zeppelin and Black Dog's crew in camp.
All right. Okay, I got it. So go ahead and roll.
All right. Come on, dice, be nice. That's an 8, a partial success.
All right. So I think here's what happens then. You focus and you reach out around you and into this maelstrom. You hear the howling of wind kind of cutting through. You hear this chattering and this static all around you. You hear a discordant melody of voices coming from all sides, saying things that you've been tuned into since you were a child. You don't know why. The words that you don't understand. You hear this kind of a voice will come through and says like, buy the new iPhone 10, and another one will come through and it'll be like this laugh track. You'll hear these people talking in this way that doesn't really make sense to you, and then you'll hear like laughter behind them, and then that sort of cuts out, and you as you have this vision, you push through it, and for a moment, everything goes quiet. You turn your right, and sitting beside you in the plane, in the dirigible, kind of leaned up, hat pulled down, see a familiar sort of white facial hair. Sort of tips his hat up a bit, looks over to you. You see Solomon sitting next to you. Gives a nod, tilts his hat back down. You look forward again, and you see a place that you're sitting in now that you're not familiar, but it is familiar. And you see a hallway, a room to your left, medical supplies. You hear a voice from down the hall, and you go walking up to it. Except the walk isn't yours. The clothes aren't yours. The hands are older, thicker, or calloused. Taller. Wearing a hat. Bit of stubble. You look in the reflection and you see Solomon looking back at you. You keep walking forward to the end of the hall. As you get there, you begin to grow nervous. And you draw your pistol from your side. You push the door open. You see a man in a white lab coat standing over a table. A boy strapped to the table, panicking, crying. The man has a set of tools, syringes to the side. He begins to pick up one of the syringes and brings it towards the boy. And you call for him to stop. He wheels around on you. This deranged-looking man, thin, gaunt, eyes sunken. He begins to lunge at you. You don't have a choice. You draw your pistol, you aim, and you shoot him. right between the eyes. He collapses back to the corner of the room. You see the boy laying on the table, and you know what you have to do. You pick him up, unstrap him, put him over your shoulder, tell him everything's going to be okay. Ask him his name. And he just keeps saying the same name over and over and over again. Leopold. You take him and you walk out. And the moment you wake up, unsure if your message got through. Garrett, as you are sitting in that standing in that same hallway, that same room, you feel kind of a ringing in your ears, a static, and you kind of shake, and this voice comes to you. It's blaring at first, and this song begins to come in your head. Something about a stairway to heaven. And you just hear that song come through. And it lasts for about 30 seconds and then begins to diminish. So, Leopold, sitting in the bunker or in the dirigible still, you have that experience.
I'm gonna just kind of open an eye out, check to see if anyone noticed anything, double check to see if Solomon's still there.
I'm gonna say because you didn't fail, nobody noticed you, so you were good. that was your partial success. Is that you didn't get caught.
Yep, that's good. So yeah, gonna I think sit for a bit, maybe even an hour, because Leopold had mostly suppressed those memories himself and now knows more about where he came from, and so just going to digest that for a bit, but eventually is going to try to make his way over to wherever Raven is, but do it as surreptitiously as possible. Maybe just get up, seem like he needs to stretch his legs, settle back down somewhere.
Okay. So I think that's what happens. So you kind of get up and you move kind of across, like in front of Raven, getting a little bit closer. And I think at that moment, Raven's talking to somebody else, looks up, sees you, and you gather probably for the first time, like really notices that you're there. Gives a strange look as you pass, and as you pass by, he gets up too and begins to follow you.
Okay. Let's see, are there... I'm assuming there are windows in here around most of the exterior, or...
Yeah, there are a pretty good amount of windows and kind of gaps to look out from. There are no, like, there's no glass in the windows. They're mostly just kind of open air coming through here.
Okay. Because I'm trying to find somewhere that I can go to lean that is not being able to look down and keep up the charade of being afraid of heights.
Okay. There are some areas that are just metal that you can lean against if you're trying to make that. Okay. Yeah, you can do that.
So yeah, go over to there, kind of make a show of peeking over and then quickly ducking back around and being like...
Okay. I think as you do that, Raven kind of comes around too, and sees you as you kind of gone around a little bit of there's a little bit of contortions and like bits and pieces jutting out from the walls that would have once been in this interior of this dirigible. And he comes around, looks at you and says, Leo.
I turn and act surprised to see him.
Are you all right?
Yes, I am. I'm not good with heights, and it has obviously been a difficult day.
I imagine I assumed you were probably in there with the rest. I'm glad you came out. I really am. I didn't think Solomon would let you go.
I wish to. It is. I'm sorry. It is difficult for me to talk about him right now.
I understand. He was like a father to you, wasn't he? I know it must be hard. I really wish it hadn't had to go that way. I didn't know. Well, I knew what was being planned. I just didn't. I'd hoped more people would come.
This is most of the denizens of the train yard.
Yeah. Well, still, I mean, the rest of them, though, Saul, Tesla, Garrett, Phoenix, Birdie, I can't believe they're gone, too.
Yes, it is. It is difficult to believe, but I seem to recall Elijah saying that they would not be forgiven, so yeah. Perhaps it is for the best that they did not face the wrathful smiting of Black Dog.
I suppose so. I had hoped they might have repented or found forgiveness. But I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you. Your concern is appreciated, and I reach out with my prosthetic to clap him on the shoulder.
Okay. He doesn't flinch. I mean, that is, yeah.
Okay, so once I touch him with the Violator glove, I'm going to do a deep brain scan on him.
Okay. Do you roll weird for that?
Yep.
Okay.
Come on, dice. That's another partial success. That's a 9.
Okay, what's the effect on a partial success for this?
I get, I hold 1.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, which question do I want to ask? Because my goal in this was to find out if, essentially, is he really Raven? You know, how did he survive the fall?
Okay.
But this also does have very specific questions for me to ask.
Yeah. I'll give it. I'm willing to kind of go beyond the scope of the rules a bit, and since I like the vision thing, we'll go with that a bit more. I think you clap him on the shoulder as you smile, and he smiles back at you. You suddenly see that smile fading, not in the here and now, but you see that vision of bloodied, beaten, sort of cut up Raven at the edge of that cliff, looking out towards Solomon on the other side. As a woman stands behind him, kind of holding the back of his collar. And you hear Solomon speaking, but you don't really understand the words, and then there's a shove. And you watch Raven go plummeting and falling and falling and falling. And there's that moment where the panic and the heartbeat and everything just begins to overwhelm him. And I think you feel that, and then you feel him passing out, and then it's just black. And he kind of looks at you as you kind of pause for a second. He says, I appreciate it. Are you okay?
No, but there is very little that can be done about that right now.
Of course. Well, you get some privacy over here. I'll make sure no one bothers you. Okay.
Thank you, Raven.
Of course. And listen, I'm sure you haven't told anyone here your relationship with Solomon. I understand that. I won't do that either. But no, you can trust us, and nobody's going to hold that against you in any way.
I just smile and nod. Thank you.
Of course. And he kind of pats you back on the shoulder, kind of as that familiarity has been established, but you're not really understanding the purpose behind you, just like a little more familiar at this point. Thinks he's had this connection, and then goes smiling and walking away.
He doesn't know how connected we were.
All right. So I think you have that moment. And is there anything else you were wanting to do on your plane, your Zeppelin flight?
Yeah, I think just try and commit to memory as much as possible. The faces of the people from the train yard who seem more open to the people from Black Dog trying to ingratiate themselves.
Okay, cool. Just making your kill list as you leave. I think the last thing we'll do before we go to break. So the dirigible hovering its way across the gap through the clouds and into the nothingness beyond. Go back in the early morning to the laboratory. You're all, some of you sleeping, some of you taking the night to repair. I think Phoenix probably working on the generator a bit, trying to get that up and running. I don't know if you heard me. Phoenix.
Sorry, for some reason my volume got turned right down.
That's okay.
That was my fault. I must have leaned on something.
No, it's fine. Did you, I assume you were working on the generator over the course of the night?
Yeah, just taking the parts from the spare bike or the bike that was trashed to try to get that up and running.
Okay.
I've probably got some spare parts.
What I'm going to say for this is that it doesn't have to be you specifically, but somebody spends a barter and you guys can fix it.
I have barters to spare, so I can do that.
Okay, so you spend a barter, kind of counts for the equipment you've been using to fix it, and you're able to, just like in the early hours of the morning, suddenly you all hear the of the generator kicking on, and some of the lights in the place begin to kind of and begin to turn on throughout the facility. However, around the time where you're hearing that noise in the early morning, you hear another noise. Another growling, just of dozens of engines approaching.
I am going to get in the tank, because I guess that's what it's called now.
Okay. So you all be...
Call in whoever wants to get in the gun can.
All right. You all, some of you come inside, some of the bikers outside already that were keeping guard. I think Garrett, the rest of you kind of emerging out onto the asphalt again. Quickly, Phoenix diving into the car, growing into life, Cass getting in the turret, climbing like up and over and then sliding down into it to get inside. So he begins to warm it up. And just as that happens, suddenly there are lights flashing and you see 5 of these kind of patchwork ATVs come kind of driving out into the parking lot. And you see bits of filth and rags and animal heads, like skulls hanging from the side of them, kind of clattering as they go. You see these people covered in dirt and mud with kind of bear weapons. Some of them wearing kind of basic weaponry. Some of them have spears. Some of them have guns. Some of them have bows. You see painted with just filth the raiders that you saw that fought you just yesterday. And then vroom, coming from right between them, you see a motorcycle with Tess at the helm and Birdie kind of clutching on the back to dear life and comes skidding into the parking lot right between them and cutting off the engine as they all sort of circle around, all of them looking very sort of frantically and kind of suspiciously around at the surroundings as they enter the parking lot.
Made some new friends, have you, Tacoma?
Back up.
I mean, yesterday's enemies could be today's friends. I like it.
When you say that, a couple of them give like big smiles. You see some with like rotting teeth, and some of them like these sunken eyes. And this group, some of them much bigger, and just this rough and just aggressive looking bunch. And they begin to look at each other, and as they all look around and with the grins on their faces, and now seeing that they're in a safe spot, they all kind of begin to do that like yipping that they were doing before in this sort of excited way. And they all jump off their ATVs and begin to set up their little encampment here. And that's where we're going to go ahead and take our break. All right. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Sound good? All right. Be right back.
Oh, Tess.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us. I don't think I have anything else to say. Let's just get back to the game. So I think I just want to pick up back with the group that's at the lab and this new motley crew that has which is now 2 classic rock references I've made in this game, that has joined them as this this group that has found their way into Tesla's command begins to set up like an encampment essentially in this parking lot right outside this building that you guys are all calling home. What is everybody doing?
Tesla, they smell so bad.
I mean, they're gonna sleep outside.
They probably have at least 2 illnesses. Do you see that one's finger? Like, I could see, I mean... I just get off the bike.
So, backups arrived. These ones are mine now.
One of them comes up to you. That's been sort of the one you've been, I guess, negotiating with, or that you, that the one that would kind of filled in as the de facto leader until you showed up, comes walking up to you, and this one has introduced himself as, good name, as Stump, I think is his name. And he comes up to you and he says, "So, is this it?"
For now.
So, what next?
What next is we regroup. We, go do a little hunting.
Alright, I like that.
And then we, maybe move into a bigger place.
Sounds good. Well, you take the lead then, boss.
I'm sorry, you giving me permission to lead, Stump?
No. You earned that when you killed Bear, so
I just like pat him on the shoulder a little bit.
He nods and quickly backs away from you.
They're all right.
Uh-huh. Casually wipes Tesla's hand with a cloth and then throws away the cloth.
Things are gonna be a little dirty sometimes, Birdie.
Mm-hmm. And I'll go back down to the compound and set out all of the stuff that we took and wrapped up all nice and put it back. And get to work on a cure.
All right, so you begin working on that. I think Cask approaches you, Tesla, and says, "So, friends, huh?"
Employees.
Are we gonna be able to trust them?
That ain't really what this is about. But I expect they'll fall in line.
All right, as long as you keep them in line, I guess. This might, based on what I saw back at the train yard, this helps. There were at least 100 of them that were there. I can only imagine they have more, so between this and Garrett's crew, that at least gives us we won't die so fast.
I don't imagine once we put a bullet in Black Dog, many of them are gonna want to fight. Takes a lot out of you to see your profit fall.
Yeah. Just gotta line you up the shot then, I guess. I hope it's fair what I said back at the train yard. You did a lot for Saul. You were essentially his right hand, but I'd like to try to rebuild things here. I know you need as many hands on deck as you can, but we might not have much. But we're going to need something to come back to. So, I'm going to keep things in line and keep the people that we have safe here. Well, y'all go off and do your thing.
You do what you're good at.
Let you know one more thing. We were keeping track of the gap. By our count, probably got about maybe 5 days. So that closes. And I think that's your best chance to get across. Still be good to have a little more than this. Might be worth talking to, go kicking the hornet's nest over at Longmire, or see if you can pull the stick out of Ford's ass.
I don't know if I want to go near that. You're right.
That's what I would recommend, at least. Plus, we're going to need food, supplies, munitions. Those are the only two places I got them now.
Well, send something your way.
Fair enough. I'm going to get to work on fortifying this place a bit. If you could spare a few hands from your... whatever you're calling them. Could use a couple.
Yeah, all right.
All right. So, Cask takes a couple that are the more civilized, I guess, of your group, or willing to lend a hand. Promises them some rations and some food in exchange. So, begin setting out on that. What are you guys doing?
I'm just working on a cure, getting Deet and Heck to work with me.
Okay. So I think Deet and Hecuba, I think as you're looking over this lab, Deet, who's probably just woken up at this point, looks over and says, "So you just found this here?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was serendipitous.
Seems like it. This is great. I was able to, and they kind of pat their sides and begin to pull out from some pockets some folded and crumpled up pieces of paper, and says, I kept as many of the notes as I could. There isn't much I could have grabbed.
You did amazing.
We might be able to do something here then. Help some people.
Yeah, we will.
All right. Let's get to work, see how much we can get ready today then. They begin to help you, and you spend the next, well, I'd say probably the rest of this day working on that. Okay, so for the cure itself, as far as the supplies go, I'm going to say you're probably going to have to spend some of your stock to make it.
Makes sense.
So I think this is what happens. You spend the rest of the day kind of working with the supplies and testing out this concoction or this method that you've been able to piece together. For one angel stock, you can make one dose of the cure.
Excellent.
And I think
Cool.
that's what you end up with at the end of the day.
Cool.
So as you're kind of looking it over, and the centrifuges stop spinning, and the machinery kind of gives off a beep and a little bit of a flash, pop the top off it and pull out the small vial, and Deet looks it over and says, all right, I guess we gotta test this out on somebody then. You should take it.
I was just gonna say, who do we know that's sick?
They look right at you and say, you should take it.
I certainly don't want to get any worse.
Well,
Won't be much help to anyone that way.
no, you won't. And I can see how bad things are. Everybody else will be fine.
Okay. All right. Pull up my sleeve.
Okay.
Oh wait, I don't wear sleeves.
Yeah. Okay. You take the syringe and fill it with the try to think of the right word for what this would be, the antiviral or whatever this strain might in fact be, but you take it.
Right before I break skin, I just look at Deaton. If this isn't right, and if anything happens, take care of everyone.
They shake their head and said, it's gonna be right.
Just in case.
I know, but you're gonna be fine.
And then I do it.
Okay. Inject it. And sort of burns going in the muscle, and you you flex. I mean, nothing feels different. It's going to take some time. So, what else is everybody doing during this day?
I'm getting ready to roll out.
Yeah, me too.
Making sure the Mia, the car, and the tank are polished up and ready, and gotta be looking nice for this.
All right. So I would say the three of you are together, discussing whatever your plan is at this point.
Was Garrett around when Cask said the 5-day thing?
Let's say yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you guys that.
Okay, well, that was the first thing he was going to ask.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys that.
Cool. Well, we've got a deadline. Do we want to try to go to Ford or Longmire first? I don't know how much help they're going to be with people, but...
We gotta go right past.
That's true.
If we go to Ford first, at least we get supplies sorted.
Try to get some food sent back.
Yeah.
Listen, when we get there, we gotta get Black Dog out from behind the walls.
Yeah. Well, here's the question for you, Tess. Do you want us to figure out how we can get him out of whatever hole he's in so you can take the shot? Or how are we going to do this? Are we going in guns blazing and take him out when we can? Or should we find Leo first and get our people?
I don't see a way to get in there.
Well, depending on how thick their walls are. I mean, I had a bit of fun with the tank while I was on my way to where the train yard was, and old bricks don't stand a chance. Anything thicker might give a bit of a bump inside, but
I'm afraid if we go in violent, they're gonna start killing people. I've got an idea, but you all aren't gonna like it.
What's this idea?
I think we need to... I hate this so much. I think we need to go in under the pretense of offering a trade of some kind.
We knew that they were like, all of us would die on sight, right? It was Solomon's crew, all of us die, but the rest can live, right?
Essentially, I mean, it was, again, that could have been interpreted from what was said, but for the most part, it was everyone can find forgiveness except for the group of you. So you could interpret that as they were going to kill you, but not in so many words.
Well, who would we trade if we were going to do it? Because I'm pretty sure 3 of us have a kill on sight order.
There is one of us that no matter what he might preach, I think Black Dog or his mouthpiece could find it in their heart to forgive.
If it's who I'm thinking you're thinking of, yeah, I don't like it, but it might work.
it's a peaceful inn, that'll probably get us there.
Hopefully it'll get us through the gates, but Phoenix, you're probably gonna have to be the one to do it.
Can do. I could probably be, honestly, probably better for me to try and set up the trade as well. I'm known at Longmire, and that's where I saw Elijah. It wouldn't take long for me to probably at least get word across.
Oh, this is gonna be messy.
Yeah, but hopefully it'll be the good kind of messy by the end.
You get Black Dog and Elijah in my sights. This is
Yeah,
over.
yeah, it is. All right, I guess we need to talk to Birdie now. See how she feels about it.
I'll do that.
All right. I'll get everything together.
I'll get prepped for the farm, take the tank, show 'em we mean business.
I go talk to Birdie.
Puts a band-aid on.
All right, the two of you meet. You find Birdie inside.
Hello, Tesla.
Yeah, I would say you're probably still in the infirmary area, and Deet is still keeping an eye on you.
In case I pass out. Hi, how'd it go?
Fine. Just talking. Planning.
Any decisions?
Well, I got an idea.
Are we moving?
You're not gonna like it.
Try me.
Well, once we get to Black Dog, we gotta find a way to get to him where they're not just gonna shoot us all on sight. And so we want to go in under the guise of having something to trade.
And that would be me.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't know, I still regret thinking of it.
No, it's smart. I don't want to go back there. I don't want anything to do with him. Especially not after this.
We're gonna end him.
I will do whatever I need to do to help.
We just gotta get him to open the door.
I think I can do that.
We'll keep you safe.
I grabbed his hand.
We'll keep you safe.
I know you'll be watching. Is there anyone else in this room?
Deet.
Dang it.
Who I think goes. What? Oh, yeah, I'll be right there.
I love them so much.
I'm gonna give Tesla a kiss. It's gonna be okay.
This is the fucking worst idea I've ever had.
Not if it works.
We're gonna take back our home. Yeah, I'm gonna kill those motherfuckers.
and I'll pick up what's left.
As the door kind of swings closed, I think Deet's outside, and you can hear them sort of awkwardly kind of walking somewhere, or fiddling with something somehow.
Yeah, I'm totally doing something.
As that moment sort of fades and your heartbeat sort of returns to normal. There's this shooting pain in your chest. And Birdie collapses.
I start screaming for Deep. I know they didn't go very far.
Deep comes busting into the room. What? Oh God, what happened? And
she just fell.
She rushes over and she flips Birdie onto her back. Birdie's eyes are open, staring up at the ceiling. Her chest isn't moving. Deet rushes over and feels at her neck and says, "There's no heartbeat."
What?
She's... Oh no. And she quickly begins giving chest compressions. And she begins to yell. She says, Heck! Where is she?
I go find her.
Okay. You go running. God damn it. I just saw it in the chat. No, not heck like that. He's calling for
heck!
Oh heck!
You go running out into the room, calling for Hecuba. She's not there. You go running into the side. She's not there either. And you go room to room, and then outside, Hecuba's gone.
I go back in.
Go back in.
Wait, who's outside?
Most of the gang, Cask, Garrett probably.
I go
Definitely Phoenix working, getting his car ready.
to... Oh, my guys don't really know her. I go to Cask. I guess. Hecuba. You seen her? She leave?
Who'd you say you're going to again? Sorry, I was reading something. Cask. Okay, just want to make sure because I thought you said Phoenix for a second. Cask looks around and says, as he is kind of putting some sheets of metal near some of the windows that are on the outside of this building. And he climbs down and says, she was out here just a little bit ago.
Give me a direction, anything.
I think she went that way.
I grab two of my raider peoples. Brief description of her. Bring her to me. Alive.
All right. And they go running off into the woods, spears in hand, which they put down a bit.
And I go back inside.
Okay. Go back inside. Over to the... you go over back and kind of busting into the room as you run in. Deet is sitting there on the floor next to Birdie. She looks up to you. She's dead.
You didn't try hard enough.
I don't know what else to do.
Fix it. What have you been doing down here? She didn't just fall over and die.
All right. I need your help. Get her on the table.
Great, I pick her up, put her on the table.
All right. There's a surgical kit over there on the counter. Bring it to me.
I just do whatever she says.
All right. I need your help. Probably need to get someone else in here too. I need water. It's got to be clean. And she begins giving you orders as she begins to prep a surgical station. And we're going to go over to Leo. Leo, you've been in the plane for the dirigible for a few hours now. And you begin to hear some commotion up to the front of the dirigible. And Elijah, I don't know why I wanted to call him something else. Elijah comes out, kind of standing in the middle of everyone, a smile across his face. It says, so I've heard from our pilot. It looks like we're about to be heading in. I'm going to be on solid land again soon enough. So just hold on a bit. Once we arrive, we'll climb down, same as we did before. Everyone should be safe. And we'll probably take a little bit of a rest here at the hangar. Introduce you to some people. And then we'll head on up to the cathedral. So just bear with us a bit longer. As you wait for the next 20 minutes, or you look out the window and you can see as you are approaching a section of land. Seems to be a little bit to the north. It's been hard to get your bearings on exactly where you are at this point, but based on the direction you've been heading, I'd say Leopold's probably smart enough to realize this is definitely Vacan. But the southern tip of it. And you see down beneath you, there is a stretch of gray pavement, probably about a mile long. And there are a few metal buildings on either side of it. The Zeppelin comes down and the engines kind of whir into life to keep it hovering at a consistent altitude, just about 50 feet above the tarmac. And the rope is lowered. People begin to climb down. You and the rest climb down. And you find yourself standing on the runway once again, or for the first time. And you see here probably 7 machines almost identical to the one that flew over the train yard. The planes. You see people attending to them. You see a fairly large force here. About 50 or so people seem to be tending to this hangar. And as you're getting ready, everybody's coming around, like looking around, confused and awestruck at this sight. Some people begin to approach, faces that you don't recognize. One of them, a man with sort of like horn-rimmed glasses, He has a like longer brown hair. He is fairly tall, wearing a simple sort of white button shirt, pretty clean cut for what you see most people wearing, and not wearing the same cloak that you see most of Black Dog's gang commonly dressed in. But he's with a few of Black Dog's gang at the time, and Elijah looks over towards him and gives a smile and says, Doc, it's good to see you. And comes walking up, and Elijah turns back to everybody else and says, you all get to know this fine gentleman soon enough. This is Doc. He sort of tends to things around here. It's a little bit of the brains of the operation. Thank you, so says Elijah. Nice to meet the rest of you. Can I have a word, please? Elijah gives a smile back to everyone, says, everything's fine. I'm going to go talk to Doc a bit. He's not as friendly as most of the people here. He keeps his mind on his business. So I'm going to talk with him a bit, see what's going on. I'll be back. So I'll you just sit tight for a bit. He goes walking up, and Doc sort of leads him away and begins to quickly kind of talk to him in a very brisk manner as they are walking about a few dozen yards off from where the group is right now.
What I want to try and do is try and listen in on their conversation with my brain skills, but I don't know if that needs a full-on weird roll or if this is passive enough because they're close enough. And
so I'm trying to decide about that. I'll say you pick up a little bit of the conversation. We'll go with that, and then we'll see if you want to roll beyond this. The man says, Doc says, whoa, Elijah, what's going on? Y'all just left. You took the explosives out. You didn't say anything. That's not protocol. Elijah says, now, Doc, it was Black Dog's orders. That was what he told us to do. Elijah says, I understand, but you still have to you still have to follow protocol. That's why it's in place. Now, listen, it's fine. We just had to take care of some business. Like I said, will the profit. The Doc sort of steps away from a bit, just shakes his head, goes back and says, no, you don't understand. We made this arrangement. There's certain principles that have to be met here. You can't just do what you want. I will report back if this and anything else, should this continue to happen. Elijah says, now, Doc, there's no need for that. Trust me, this is in the best interest of everyone. Looks back towards the group and gives a smile. Says, let's talk about this later. We got newcomers. They're a little bit on edge, and why don't you try to be nice to them? I think at that point, they begin to break off, and you see Doc sort of stands there for a bit with a grimace on his face before turning on his heel and heading back towards one of the hangars. Elijah approaches the group, big smile again, says, all right, sorry about that, everyone. So why don't I take you inside? You can sit down for a bit. We can get you some food. You can relax for a while, and we'll get our rides fueled up and get on out of here and up to the cathedral before too long. All right? everyone sort of murmurs and nods and begins making their way towards the hangar. Anything you want to do?
I want to pay attention towards where Doc is going. See if try and keep an eye on him. Definitely don't want to do it right away, but at some point while we're resting up and waiting, see if I can get in to talk to Doc. At the very least, what I want to do is make sure he's not about to get murdered while we're here. Not that I expect Elijah to go that far with all the newcomers.
Okay. So are you trying to like follow him a little bit without being noticed, or?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll have you. We'll count this as doing something under fire. So I'm gonna have you roll cool.
Yep. Which, given my history, I'm so good at, but we'll see. That is a 10.
Nice. So you succeed. So you, as the group kind of makes its way into the hangar, it's big doors that are partially slid open. Every kind of slides inside. Big open facility. You can see it's been kind of repurposed, and there's been like levels that have been built out to give it more of a second story, and it looks like there's a pretty large force, or it's built for a large force to be garrisoned here. Not as many here as they probably could hold. Elijah begins to lead the rest of the group over towards some tables and some seating area, a bit of a more comfortable arrangement. You see Doc heading up and going up the stairs. As you head in, you begin to duck off and kind of follow behind him a bit, sort of meandering, making it look like you're just checking the place out. Nobody seems to notice you. Doc heads up the stairs to the second floor and heads towards the back of the hangar. Obviously you're not following him directly, so you get far enough behind, a little ways off, where still nobody really paying attention to you at this point. But you watch Doc as he heads back and seems to duck into a room towards the back side of the hangar.
Okay. Is this like an open setup where we're like up on catwalks and I can see most of the people down below?
Yeah, I mean, you can. It's like there have been catwalks, and the catwalks have been sort of extended to create more platforms, but when you're near the edge, you can see pretty much everything below.
Okay. Just gonna double check that no one's here, and I think I think I'm gonna go try and have a chat with Doc.
Okay. You head towards this room. It seems to be built off of the side of the hangar into another building that's attached. As you enter, you can see you are emerging onto another set of catwalks in a smaller space, and spread all throughout this space on the ground. You see vehicles, other large pieces of machinery that have been deconstructed and rebuilt, and machines and things that are being kind of put together and repurposed for different for whatever he might be creating here. And Doc has made it down and is beginning to make his way down to sort of the workshop area.
Okay. Are there other people there, or is it just Doc?
It's just him.
Okay. I'm gonna follow him down. Not going to get like right up behind him, but get within conversational distance before making my presence known.
Okay. So you begin to make your way down the steps and getting to a point where you're about 30 feet away from him or so. What do you do? How do you make your presence known?
I just look around at some of the big pieces of machinery and just say, "This is all fascinating."
He jumps a bit and turns back towards you and says, "Who are you? What? Nobody else is supposed to be in here."
I did not mean to startle you. I just wish to make your acquaintance and have a conversation. I am one of the new arrivals that Elijah has brought over, and I was hoping to be able to pick your brain, if I may.
He steps back a bit. Make a roll hot for me. Make a it's sort of a seduction or manipulation.
Succeeds partially. That's an 8.
Okay. Not bad for the -2.
If I didn't have the -2, that would have been a 10.
Yeah. So, all right.
What are these?
Okay. So they'll go along with you, but they need some concrete assurance, collaboration, or evidence first. So he says, all right. How do I know you're not just going to start breaking shit? I can't guarantee I don't know if you know your way around any of these things.
I have a friend who would be more at home with these than I am, and while I've picked up a few tidbits here and there, this is far from my wheelhouse. But no, I wanted to talk to you about Elijah. As you may have surmised, we did not have all that much option in coming here with him. So I wanted to get your take on the man.
Says fine. I'll tell you what you want to know. Just stay standing there. Don't walk too close to anything.
Yep, keep my hands up. Well, I don't keep them up, but just
but just kind of staying back. Okay. He continues around his work and begins to sort of move some things around and just talking over his shoulders. He says, I can't really say I've spent enough time around the man myself to know much. Seems well enough. Everyone here seems to like him enough, so I suppose he's useful.
Yes, I can certainly see that. It seems like the men are very much devoted to him.
Yeah. No, they all really are.
But not you.
No, like I said, haven't really been here long. I've got my own things going on.
Is there anything that you would like to share with one who has a passing interest in these sorts of things?
Not much to say. I get some space here to do my work more than I got. You guys got more materials here than I had back home. So, works well enough. And I got a job to do, so that's what I'm doing. Sorry, I'm not really the chatting type. I understand you're trying to help and be nice and all, but I appreciate it. I'm used to just sort of working in peace, so.
Well, I won't keep you too much longer, but it was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Doc, and I approach for a handshake. Again with my prosthetic.
Okay, so with the prosthetic arm?
Mm-hmm, because it is my right hand.
He walks up and begins to go shake your arm and says, "Who made that for you?"
Let me double check what my notes are on it. Because it is hand built and partially organic because it's integrated with the meat. There was an individual who started it, but over the years I have made it my own.
Interesting. It's a bit crude.
Yes, well, it is my dominant hand. I can only do so much with this hand.
Fair enough. That person doesn't have to be with you, do they? No one that put together?
Originally, no. He has long since passed on from this mortal coil.
Shame. Aren't enough people around that know to do stuff like that anymore. So. All right. Well, what was your name again?
Leopold.
Leopold. All right. Well, you can call me Doc. He shakes your hand.
And I'm going to attempt to do a deep brain scan on him.
Okay. Roll weird.
Yep. That is a 9 for a partial success.
Okay. So with this one, we'll just go with the normal.
Yeah, so I get 1 hold because I'm not using any of my extra gear that might enhance it, but also might tip him off more. Let's see. What are your character's secret pains?
I think the best you get is a subservience to people far less intelligent than they are.
Yeah, so get that, break the handshake and just say, well, I wish you luck in your endeavors, and I hope that someone appreciates the work you do here. I know that my friend would find this all fascinating.
Yeah, well, like I said, not a lot of people like that around anymore. I appreciate the effort. Should probably get back to your group, though. I'm sure that Elijah wants take you wherever he's going to take you.
He said we're going to the cathedral. Have you ever been?
I went once when I was first sent here, so.
Anything I should know going in?
Guess it just depends on how much you want to drink the Kool-Aid.
Good to know. Thank you.
He goes back to his contraptions. So you make your way out and back onto the catwalk, and as you're making your way up and kind of across back to the group, I think you hear a voice call up from below. It says, "Oh, there you are. Was looking for you."
Oh yes, I got lost looking for the washroom.
All right. Well, that's going to be an outhouse outside. I don't know what sort of fancy stuff you had back at the train yard, but for the most part, not a lot of indoor dispensaries to be had here. Well, listen, we're going to be heading out soon, so you might want to come meet up with the rest of us.
I'll go. If there's food there or whatever. If there is food, I will pause a bit, thinking on the Kool-Aid, but it's been hours at this point since I've eaten, so.
Yeah. Not that, I mean, the word Kool-Aid, I think, is something that sounds familiar to you, and you're not even really sure what
There's a non-zero chance I've picked that up from the site.
Yeah, there is. I think it's something that's like, you suddenly hear just like, when you hear that word, you just hear like a voice from inside your head, just like, oh yeah. And then, and that's about all you get. Something about breaking down walls. It's probably a type of like explosive. You're not sure.
Liquid explosive. Tesla will be a fan of it.
But yeah. So you gather together. There's some food down there, and eventually you hear some rumbling outside, and some more cars pull up. And Elijah says, "All right, well, we are good to go then. So let's all load up in the cars here, and we'll be up at the cathedral before too long." Everyone begins to load into the cars, and which tear off, falling to the north and back to up into the further reaches of Vakken. The rest of you over at the laboratory. There is an audible or a tangible sort of dread and panic throughout that has spread at this point. I think most people have figured out what is going on, that there's something wrong. The doors of the infirmary have been closed. So people are kind of looking in Tesla as who did you grab to help?
Because I think everyone besides Cask is a nameless NPC except for Garrett.
Garrett, I guess.
Okay. All right. The two of you are in there with Deet, who is sort of shaking a bit. They have hooked up some like rudimentary like breathing apparatus that has been affixed to Birdie's face in an effort to perhaps provide oxygen. And they have scalpel, and they have some other various saws and equipment. And as they are shaking, I look over to you, Tesla. Okay. Begins to make the first incision across Birdie's chest. The next hour or so passes as Deet begins the process of open heart surgery in an attempt to save Birdie. She cuts the ribs, removing the rib cage. I'm actually going to, because I did actually stand in on open heart surgery once. This is all getting too visceral for me, so I'm gonna skip forward a bit. Like taking all, beginning to remove, and there's the cracking of bones and everything. It's hard to. I imagine Tesla and Garrett are probably the best choices as not being squeamish at all, but definitely seeing Birdie on the table and seeing this happening might have some effect, especially assuming Tesla. There's a moment after Deet makes another incision where they stop. Looks over towards Tesla. Looks back down into the essentially chest cavity of Birdie. I don't know what to do. They sort of reach down, sort of gently lift up a still object. What do they see?
A strange conglomerate of leather and some very dark metal. Just like a sack, sort of with almost some gasket looking things on it. That's what I got.
What you don't see is a heart.
Garrett,
Yeah.
get Phoenix.
Yeah. He runs and gets Phoenix.
All right.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he like runs, grabs him, and is just like, it's easier not to explain. It's the Sparrow. You have to go now, and he's like basically just drags him back to the OR.
Okay. You scrub up at the bequest of Deet, and you approach, and you see this in the Just Cavity, which Phoenix might not be as accustomed to this level of gore, but probably still, it's the apocalypse. You see this machine that is hooked up to the arteries and of Birdie in replace of her heart.
Well, this is something. Okay, we need to open it up, see what's still moving, and see if anything's seized up.
Okay. You actually end up going to grab, in lieu of scalpels and clamps, go grab.
I go get my tools.
Go get your a wrench and a screwdriver, and unhook some of the facets of it, and unhook the main sort of engine apparatus part, and begin to take it apart and look it over. And you do see like there's some. It's mostly machine. There's a little bit of organic material to this, but it's mostly. And that's mostly just to keep it sort of the connecting components of it. But it is some sort of this like clockwork device, a series of gears and little servos inside of it that would keep this thing pumping and keep it moving. It's very complex and very intricate, like the innards of a watch.
Okay, not quite my speciality here. First things first, see if everything can move freely, sort of keep whining if it were to get going again. Second, look for whatever sort of mechanism keeps it running and going.
Okay. You look through and you kind of look over the gears and being very careful not to, if you take any out, not to put them back exactly where they were. And in the right order. It seems like everything is moving. This beating apparatus, it does seem to be working. You're not seeing any malfunctions there, no cracks, no breaks. There is a power source to it, some sort of device that you're not entirely sure what this is, but it is somewhat like a battery almost, but very tiny. And very advanced. You never see anything like this. As far as the battery itself, it's in one piece. However, it does look corroded on the edges. It looks like something has sort of corroded the circuits a bit, like the whole thing sort of, I'm trying to think of the right word, like there was some sort of power surge to this that caused it to fry. The battery itself seems fine, but it appears, you tested a bit, it appears dead, like it might need a jump.
Okay, quick change plan. Garrett, go to the car, get the battery out of the trunk immediately.
All right. And he heads off.
All right. You come back a little bit later with the car battery in tow.
Whatever you're going to do it fast.
I have no clue if this will work or not, and I start using whatever leads I have to hand, hooking up the smaller battery to the car battery, and like when it's all connected up, first goal is just giving it, because I'm assuming where we are there's a way to rig it up so the battery can sort of kick in and sort of jump start it.
Yeah.
I can like throw up the ignition mechanism to get the battery going.
Sure. Yeah, you can do that. Sort of charge it up a bit. So you're doing this with the battery outside of the heart?
I'm making sure this works outside of the hut. Outside of the hut first.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do, and you spend a little bit sort of jumping and rigging it, and you get to the point where you're fairly sure that it's hooked up correctly, and you like you said, you sort of create a fault to get that spark going and get the battery charging, and the battery actually begins to glow. Not in like a heat sense, but like as it charges, it has this kind of light, kind of reddish purple glow to it.
Okay, that worked. First thing is get the battery back where it should be. Second, rehook it up to the car battery just to keep that charge going, then see if I can get everything moving and working again.
You do realize as you pick up the battery, it is freezing cold. Like cold to the touch. And actually, like you actually have to like put on a glove or get something else to move it. It is so cold. But you move it to the side and you begin to get everything situated. You reconnect the battery. It begins to dim a little bit again as it doesn't have any sort of charge going through it. You put it back into the heart, connect everything else, and then the last bits you take the car battery again, connecting it to the chambers of the heart, where you see these like two sort of diodes there, just probably used to charge it to begin with, to jump it to begin with, and you connect that, you send that charge again, there's that spark of energy, and as you do, the heart goes dun 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 dun. It begins to beat.
Well, you were the right man for the job.
It's basically some kind of engine.
Whatever it is, you fixed it. Let's get it back and get her up and running again.
All right. The procedure continues as Deet reverses what was done before, putting everything back in place. The breathing machine continuing to sustain, hopefully, Birdie in these moments. As the last sutures are made across this fresh wound across Birdie's chest, Deep steps back, says, we're just gonna have to wait, I guess.
How did all of this start? What happened?
I was making we were working on the cure, putting everything together. I recommended that Birdie take it first. I thought that she was sick. Everyone could tell. I don't know what was wrong with it.
Do you know what you helped the little sparrow put it together, right?
Yeah.
Go through it, figure out if that's what happened. Has
I know what happened.
okay, I was about to say, I'm like, has he realized that Heck isn't here? You know what happened?
I got some of my guys out looking for Hecuba.
Why are you looking for?
Do you know where she is?
No, she was. It was my turn to. Oh no.
She's the one feeding information.
It couldn't be her.
Then where is she, Deet?
don't know.
How long's she been gone?
A couple hours, I think. Yeah. She and you see Deet is like clutching something in her hands and opens it up, and there's a scrap of paper. She looks down at it, or they look down at it. She made these notes. And that's where we're going to end our session for tonight.
Finds a table that doesn't have a birdie on it and upends it.
No!
All right.
Oh, man.
GG, everyone. So we will come back next week to see how all that turns out. Good job, everyone. Good job, Phoenix, for saving a life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bird high five.
Someone undead high five.
So we'll come back to see how that turns out. This is getting exciting.
I know exactly how it's gonna turn out. Murder.
Someone's head on a stick.
The kill list grows.
I will end her.
Oh, no. Oh, I loved you, Hecuba.
She didn't love
Didn't
you.
I always wondered, but
Now you know.
All right. Well, that was a good game, everyone. I'll go ahead and make this short since we got to wrap up our do the hex thing. So we'll go one at a time. Leopold, you didn't really spend a lot of time with anyone in this session. Well, I guess up to you. You just pick someone that you want to give a plus to hex to. I guess everyone heard things about Leopold in this session, so might know a little bit more about him.
Yeah, I'm guessing Birdie's at a 3 with me right now.
no, I'm at a 2. I just feel like Birdie learned a lot about you. Well, I'm sorry, Birdie's at a 1.
Yep. Well, because you all learned about Dr. Leopold and such.
I still don't know.
So then maybe not Birdie.
I learned that you stayed with the people to help them.
You were in Garrett's brain for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about this for half the session. Like, how is this part gonna work? Can we come back to me?
Sure, we can come back to you. Tesla.
Oh my god, this game is so hard. I'm going to say... Phoenix.
Touching. Okay.
For this last bit.
Okay. Birdie.
Well, I feel like it's a 3-way tie.
Truth.
I don't. It's just a 3-way tie. Let's see here.
Sure. Everybody can mark plus hex with Birdie.
Oh, okay. I was gonna make a decision, but if that's cool too.
If you don't want to, you can. You can actually pick someone.
I was gonna be hard, so I'd rather not.
It was a pretty dramatic moment that everyone just witnessed, so I'll allow it for this very big reveal. Okay. Garrett.
I mean, it would either be Phoenix or Birdie. Because, like, Birdie, I got to see her not heart, and then I got to see Phoenix fix the not heart.
Well, whoever knows Garrett better.
He didn't really talk to anyone this Cask. I I mean, yeah, Leo was in his brain, so probably have to go with Leo.
Okay. And Phoenix.
Hmm. I'm really not sure. Like, once again, it could go like so many ways here because I didn't really talk to anyone until that end bit.
It's up to you. I mean, you can just pick somebody.
Buddy, why not?
There you go.
Yay!
She'll probably know something about you when she wakes
Yeah,
up.
as soon as I wake up.
Leo, any guesses?
If she wakes up.
Yeah.
Don't start with me, demon.
Let's see. Learning more about Leo. I don't think Garrett has figured out yet that it was Leo in his brain. So I think I have to go with Birdie, given how little she thinks of Leo, that she's surprised that, like, oh wait, he's actually keeping an eye out on the people.
Sure.
Because she thinks I'm the worst.
This is 100% true.
Alrighty then. So I think that is it. We will pick this up next time. Until then, make this really quick because we're going late. Check out our Twitter for all sorts of announcement stuff. Giveaway pinned to the top of our page there. So you can check that out there. Make sure you enter. And you can enter as many times as you want. Once per day. We have Tidefall on Thursday, and that'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then we will have Wild Space on Monday with at 8 o'clock Eastern time, with Survivors Complex in between at 5:30 on Saturday. That's about it. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. We'll be back in 2 weeks to pick this up. And until next time, good game and good night, Internet.
Good night,
Good night,
Internet.
Internet.
Good night, Internet.
Good night, Internet.